Hi, Chase Harrison. It's time for Thursday Thoughts. Today we're going to talk about a drummer that may not be super widely known, but should be, at least for the era that I was listening to him in. When I was younger, I was always into the horn bands because I grew up with teachers that steered me into big band jazz and whatnot. I was always attracted to the bands like Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire and stuff like that. And another one of those bands that caught my attention early on was Blood, Sweat, and Tears. And the drummer, if I'm saying this correctly, that the way I always said it was Bobby Colomby. Um, and I just really got into that band and that drumming because it had that rock sound mixed with that jazz freeness, if you want to call it that. Very similar to the early Chicago. And I think my favorite song was Lucretia McEvil. But obviously, for most people, you would know Spinning Wheel or You Made Me So Very Happy or God Bless the Child or something like that. But anyway, had elements of jazz and whatnot, and was something that really caught my attention. And of course, I remember seeing pictures of Bobby Colomby in ads or something like that showed Premier drums at one point. And of course, I grew up when I was a kid. My first three kits were Premiers, so I was attracted to that as well. But I would try to mimic and copy a lot of the stuff I heard, and again, it had that elements of jazz mixed in with the rock, very similar again to the early Chicago and Danny Seraphim. Um, so definitely an influence early on, and to this day, if I want to put it on my iPod and play it, I enjoy the drumming and everything. I believe Bobby Colomby became like a record producer or executive for maybe Capitol or CBS Records or something like that, because I think that's what they were on. I do know I have gone back and purchased a few packages of Blood, Sweat, and Tears that, like a greatest hits and stuff like that. And a little side note that I told in another story, I was part of a jazz big band back in, I guess this probably would have been the 90s, early 2000s, might have been the late 90s, that in Boise called the Wind Machine, and we had Lou Soloff come in and be a guest artist, and Lou Soloff was in Blood, Sweat, and Tears and played trumpet. So, and he was super cool, and he whispered something in my ear while we were playing. I won't say what it was, but it was a bit of advice, and it was good advice. But in the actual concert, in rehearsal, I was joking around. We were doing a version of Spinning Wheel, an instrumental version of it. And during the break, I popped out and what goes up, started singing. And he goes, "That's it, you're going to sing it." So I ended up singing and playing that in the concert. And for everybody who was there, I mentioned this in another video, I messed up the words at the very end. Instead of saying painted pony, I said pointed painty. It just came out weird. I was embarrassed. Of course, the audience broke out laughing. Probably not as much as the band members. You could hardly get the last note out. It was like a 17-piece big band. So anyway, I'll always have that joke memory on me. But anyway, it was a blast to play those tunes. And to me, it gave me a little bit of a flashback to early on and listening to Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Now, I had seen Blood, Sweat, and Tears live in later years, when it was not all the original band members and whatnot, and it was not Bobby Colomby. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive, I think when I saw them, it might have been Tommy Igoe playing drums for them at the fair one year. So Tommy, if you're seeing this, let me know if you were the one who was drumming. I think it was you. But anyway, long story short, Bobby Colomby, definitely an influence. And, do yourself a favor and go back and listen to some of that, I guess I would almost say turn of the decade, late 60s, early to mid 70s, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. There's some great stuff out there, and the band rocks and swings and can jam, and there's definitely some interesting drumming going on, and something that you can learn from. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, where you're blending those styles, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, a band to listen to, and Bobby Colomby is a great drummer. Thanks.